back to the channel, Coding at Home. My name is Matthew Lonsdale, and here I program games in the Unreal Engine. So, this is Series 3. If you haven't been following along, you can go back and watch them. If you're just here for a building system, that's fine, because we build everything in components. And then the component can be moved from project to project and just be attached to controllers or players. Alright, so, if you haven't watched the video before, can I show you? Right, just go and watch it. You can see the building system that we're going to make. If you've come from that video, that's great. Alright, so first up, we want the assets. So I put a link in the video, the one I just did, and I'll put this link in the video. So go and get these assets. I've already just downloaded it, save you having to wait. Alright, so download the building meshes. That's going to pop up in your downloads folder. Download them, and now what you want is the static meshes. Like you said, you can import everything, but you're better off just getting the original static mesh from Quixel. Alright, I will move it out the way just so you can see a little bit more. Download it from Quixel, which I've done a video on that as well. So what we're going to do is we will just drag this into our engine, and we'll just put them in our content folder for now. Do not create the material, because you'll be there fucking 2 hours connecting up the material, which is just going to be a ball ache. So, get Quixel Bridge up, find this piece of wood. If you just type in wooden piece, you'll find it. Alright. Make sure your export settings is to the project that you're using. I've done a video on how to set up this last week. So if you don't know what's going on here, just nip back over and watch that one. It's only like a 10-minute video. But get Quixel Bridge set up and make sure your project's right. We're going to export this piece because this material is what's on all of the static meshes, alright? So export that. Give this a second. Is it coming? Okay, so that's importing to the project. Give it a minute to do all its stuff. Yeah, so that's come in now. See, this material is the one we want, which is all set up forward, so we don't have to fuck on with it, right? So now this material, what we'll do is we'll hit a save all, get all the static meshes and all that stuff saved, right? So this is wooden piece. Yep, save, right, in the content folder. Now all we want to do is just run through this, set the material, wooden piece, just check the collision on these. Yep, that has imported, so that's fine, right? I'll speed this up. Right, so what I noticed there was the spikes. I did use a different asset for that. That asset is just a... Well, if I go into my locals and then I can show you it, it's this one here. Alright, so you can import that. You can do that in no time. You don't, like I said, I've just seen me do it, so just click it, import that as well. I can just do that quickly while I'm here. Okay, so that'll import. And I think I'm putting these in my assets folder, maybe 3D assets or something like that it comes into. Yep, close that out. Okay, so in the 3D assets I've got two things now, and this will give you this material and the spike. Like I said, it's just one spike, and I've just put them all together and then merged it in the editor. And then you've got like a nice asset to work with. Alright, so that's all that is. I think I did do a video on that last week as well, so you can go back and watch that one. It's on my channel, subscribe, and then you can see all the videos that we're doing. So, let's fucking... What is that? Palisade spike. Okay then. So, let's go to our spikes. Pal is... There it is. So that can do that for you. I've got an itch. So we are all set up in regards to our meshes. These are working in. Now, obviously, the way I've built these, I've built these to a certain size, so it's like 200 across is where we're going to want to snap this. Alright, so 200 in any direction, it's going to line up, alright? And there's nice LODs on that as well. Not bad at all. Good textures. These are 4K. You can choose from 2K, 4K and 8K from the Quixel bridge. 8K is way too over, like, for what you're going to be doing here, especially if you're going to have a game that builds massive bases. You might even want to go to 2K just because you don't want fucking lag when a base has to load in with 8K textures all over it. So bear that in mind, think ahead. Anyway, so we have got our static meshes. So the way we're going to do this now, are we 6 minutes, right? So we're going to build this in a component. We do everything in components here because then you can move them around from project to project and attach them to controllers or players or whatever. And then everything stays the same. You don't have to rewire a whole fucking player for one thing and then change this and change that. You'll be there for ages. You just want to attach a component and have the component do everything. So in our blueprints, like you said, if you haven't followed along, it's fine because you won't need to. You can just make the component, attach it to your player controller, and it'll build for you. Alright, so that's no sweat. So we've got an inventory and a crafting. You won't need them if you've done your own inventory system and stuff. So what we're going to do is come over to actor component, and we're going to call this the building component. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my other one, so give me a sec. Okay, so I've opened up my other project, and I'll just bring this over for those who haven't seen what's going on. This is my player, and obviously we're running a line trace in here because we're doing quite a lot, but I'm going to put the line trace inside the components for people who haven't been following along. So you can do this and then just add it to your own project, okay, and you just attach the component. In this one, we have got a inventory system with build, and we can build everything. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm just going to use the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and at the end of the series, I'll do a short video of how I attached the building system into the inventory system that we've done. Alright, but pretty much we've got a build here, another one. It does snap like so. It asks for wood. I've got no wood in my inventory. I think there's wood on the floor here. Maybe it fell through the world. Okay, looks like I don't. But if I did have, they would build fine. Let's see if we can get some wood this time. I'm sure there's 1,000 wood on the floor here. Yep, there it is. Build that, E. That builds it. Collision, yes, walk on it. This one, snap, no collision. Can you still snap to it? Of course you can. Yep, we've also got the custom building where we can drag out, and that also hold shift and that'll snap to the landscape for you. Alright, so this is what we're building. This is obviously a bit more in depth. I did a video on a bit more information on the building system. If you haven't seen that, you can see that on my channel. So let's get on with it. So we'll pop this one over here, building component. So first thing we need to do here is let's get the variables done. So we have, I'm not looking at the thing, am I? Where is the, sorry, 2 seconds. I was not looking at the component, I was looking at the player. Right, so I need to move this a little bit this way so I can see. And we are in here now. So you're going to need some stuff. You're going to want build mode, so you can switch between line traces that you're using. You're going to need to can build here, which is a collision thing. Place build, you probably will need that. Some of these you're not going to need. So let's duplicate and go place, build. You will need a reference to your player controller, which you will obviously have. If you're just doing this from a fresh project, make your own player controller. Don't use the default one. Name it something. Set up a game mode, all that sort of stuff. If you don't know how to set up a project, leave a comment and we'll do a video on how to set one up. But if you're looking at this, I'm assuming you know how to set up a fucking project, and it's, you know, because this is a little bit more advanced sort of code, alright? It's not really full-on beginner, alright? I'm not going to be doing this is a variable, this is this. I'm going to assume that you know what's what, alright? Or to know a little bit at least, alright? So we are going to use our player controller, which is PC player. We are going to need a snap offset, which is a transform. The current look at item, which is a current look at item, which, if you haven't been following along, is a BP master pickup. Alright, so you will need to make an actor, just a blueprint actor. You will need to give it a static mesh. Alright, you will need to have in the construction script an enum. You will have to make an enum here of, this is like some of the previous episodes, but if you just make an enum, call it the type, and you want to go, well, we'll do it now. So imagine this was a blank one, and you will need wooden foundations, wooden wall, okay, wooden wall window, I can't remember them all, wooden wall door, I'll just go doorway, and so on. We'll come back and add all them in. Okay, and then on construction script, you're going to want to reference that enum. You're going to want to switch on enum, and all you'll need to do for the build system is, well, we can do this now. So you're going to want to get the static mesh. You're going to want to set static mesh. So let's do the foundation. You're going to want to set the wooden foundation that you've just downloaded. Let's see. Item structure. Like I said, you won't need this if you're not following along. If you have been following along, just duplicate one of these and change it to a wooden foundation, alright? But if you're not if you haven't, this is all you'll need. So if we then dragged in, if you then could drag in that actor and then set it to wooden foundation, it would set it to that, alright? Good. Sound. So that's great, that's fine. Okay, building component. Now you can rename that to that actor that you've just made, which is a master pickup item. Compile. What else have we got on here? The item type. Yeah, you will need that. Another variable. You'll need a reference to that enum. So this is going to be item type, which is the enum. Item type. Is it item type? Yep. You will need the line trace hit location, which is a vector. I hope my face hasn't been in the way this whole time. Should I check? I've ruined the whole video. I'm sure you haven't missed anything important. We're going to go, and I'm going to watch it in the playback, and if you've missed it, I'm going to have to do this whole video again. Fuck. Anyway, moving on. Right, move out the way. So, you're going to need an array of build items for the custom stuff. So this is going to be array. No, you're not. This is actually all the craftable items. So this one's optional. Array of, if you're following it on, then you'll want this. Array of build items. And that is array of the craft recipes. Like I said, that's optional. If you're just here to learn how to snap stuff together, that's fine. You'll see that. You'll see how it works in a minute. You will need the craft item info, right? So you'll need to just duplicate that and call that craft item info, and then come back to this one and set that to an array. You're going to need a spawn transformation. Spawn transformation, just transform. I'm sure that is me talking out my arse. First point set boolean, and let's clean this up. This needs to be a boolean and not an array. Spawn transform doesn't need to be an array. First point location. This is for the custom fence builds and stuff like that. That is a vector. And array of temp builds. Of temp builds like that. And I'm sure that's going to be master pickups array, I think. Is it? Must be. Yeah. So that's an array of items because we're going to spawn them. We're just going to change the material, which we will set up now. Actually, let's do that because that'll only take a minute. So in our assets or wherever you've got it, we're going to make a new material. Let's call this m_color. Bang that open. Hold the 3 on the keyboard. Left click, drag in, right click, promote to parameter. Call it color. And I'm English, that's why it's spelt like that. Hit apply, save. Actually, before you do anything, you need to come to your main one, and you want to set that to translucent, and then you want to drag off this bottom one, which is an alpha, to the opacity. Alright, that's all that you need in there. Hit apply. And wait fucking 3 hours. Go put the kettle on while this fucking compiles itself. Jesus Christ, I hate materials, like. Hate them. Take far too long to fucking do anything. Okay. Now you can come out with your right click, click material instance, material blah blah. Go underscore color. And you want red for something when it can't compile. You're gonna want blue. You can have a yellow, I don't care. That is not how you spell yellow. That is, right, well, whatever. You might not even use that. Come over here, tick, color, blue. Make it pull that up. Make it completely blue. And give it an alpha of 0.3. 0.4 maybe. Something like that. Hit OK. Hit save. Close that. Come out of here. Do red, click, 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 drag, move that here, 0.4, smash the OK button, save it out, and then never look at materials again. Right, that's done. So, where are we now? Build component. So what we're going to do here, like I said, I've done this in the player controller, but for everyone who just wants a building system, you're going to need to do a line trace. And the line trace needs to come from probably the camera. I probably should get a drink, really. So you're going to do a line trace, but what I like to do, in fact, a line trace will be fine in this case. So you want to do a line trace, objects, probably. So you're going to want to start at your player controller. It's not too hard. You can just say get. I think you can get the location. Sure, you can get the actual location of this. Put that at the start, and then you can look at. Can you get the forward? Get the forward vector, and then of course plus this to this times range. Okay, and then probably just set this to 1000. Draw debug. We'll do that for, well, we'll do it for duration. This is the end. For here, you're gonna have to make a ray, and we're looking for world statics. What we're gonna do here is we'll make a collision. So you can because what you want to do is you want if you're using a blueprint, bring the resources to it, which is probably the best way to go from now on. Like Ark's a bit fucking dated where you place them and then you can't move them and you don't know what it's going to look like, and it's a ball ache. So we're going to do a little bit extra work here, and what you need your character to walk through it, but you still need to hit it with, it still needs to have collision so the line trace can hit it. Alright, so we need to set that up. Alright, but for now we're just going to draw this, and we want to draw this every tick, and you will need to do this on a tick. You can't avoid not doing this on a tick, alright, because it'll just look shit. You have to use the ticks eventually in a game. I know people hate it. So now, building component, we want to attach this to our player controller. So we go blueprints. Obviously we need to do a save all, because I have added to the enum. So this is all going to need compiling. Now the old trick, hit play. Ugh, nightmare. Right, so if this happens, you probably just need to refresh everything. So open up that. Sorry for everyone who isn't following along, hasn't followed along, and they just want a building system. They're probably getting sick of their life. But unfortunately, I might need to refresh all the nodes. I'm doing this for everyone who has been following along, and this happens. It's when you change the enums, you're gonna get sometimes issues. Okay, and we should be good now. Yeah, so we're good to play. So I noticed there you don't want this. You want to put a variable in here for the guys who are following along, and just call this structure boolean, and then set this to true after one of these. Okay, because this, you're going to want this to happen, and then of course you don't want your structures to fall through the world, so bang an if on there, and if this is false, then do that. Okay, no more shit falling through the world. Just double check. Okay, that now stays there. Brilliant. Right, so where was we? Player component, add the building component to here, and what we're going to do, like I said, you won't need to do this if you're following on, is just disconnect that. What we'll do is we'll put a boolean in there, so when build mode's activated, this tick won't run. But if we hit play, yes, build component, can't read it, of course. So in your PC player, you will need to set this reference. So on begin play, you can get your build component, set the PC player, and you want to set this to self. So like I said, you can just do that on begin play, and you might still get an error because that might not happen quick enough. So my player controller is over there. So what you might have to do here is, where are we? Building component. I'm trying to make this completely dynamic, but you might need to get controlled pawn. Alright, and then get his actor's location, and you should be able to do that like that anyway. Alright, so you want the controls pawn from the controller. Get the control pawn. You shouldn't need to cast. Then that, then that, then that. That should work. Let's test that. So we've got the forward vector, but we have not got the look at. So you need to... Okay, we're back. So the way you can do it, so you don't have to cast to your player. Like you said, cast to your player, get your camera, and then run it like this. If you don't want to cast and you want to just make this completely dynamic, that's how I got it. So I've just got the rotation and then turned that into a vector and done that. The only downside is it's in the middle of the player, so there's a little bit of an offset. So what we can do is just fucking basically just add here, right, and then you can just bang another add in here. So add that, and add, so that, and then just add, I don't know, 50 in the Z, something like that. That'll give it some more. That's near enough lined up now. Yeah, that's that of the screen. Obviously 50 might not be right for you. Yours might be 20, yours might be 50, 60, 70, depending on how tall your character is, but I'm sure you can figure that out. Right, so we've now got a line trace running from a component that we simply attach to, so that's fully dynamic for you. So that's that. We're getting an error. The reason we're getting an error is because the line trace is trying to happen before he's valid. So what we want to do is you need to do an is valid here. Okay, if this is valid, do that. And you also want to get is build mode true, like that. So if this isn't valid, it's not going to run, and if we're not in build mode, this isn't going to run. So now if we hit play, we're not going to have a line trace running all the time. Okay, so what we're going to do now in the player, I'm going to do it over here so there's no other graph in the way. We're going to go right click, we're going to say 1, and we're going to get a building component, and we're going to say, well, we need a fucking event, don't we? That's not very clever. Let's get rid of this, move him over, don't need that up. So in here you will need an event because you need to do a delay. So normally I try to do everything in a function, so there's going to be loads of functions, but you will need one custom event here, and this is going to be a custom event. It's going to be called build. So straight away when build's called, we're going to build mode, and then we're going to all here. Alright, but now when we're in here, we hit 1. Well, you've got to call the event. So now you can call build when 1 is pressed, and obviously when we're finished building, Right, so now we're in build mode. Okay, so for yours, for everyone who's been following along, what we're going to do now in your BP player, you're going to get your player controller, get its building component, ask it if it's valid. Okay, now if this is valid, or if this is not valid, just do your normal line trace. If this is valid, get build mode. Okay, if this is true or false now, if it's false, do your normal line trace. If it's true, don't run this, because you don't want fucking ticks going all over the place. But this is now going to run, and what we'll do is we'll go for duration, and what I'll do is trace color. We'll make this one blue so you can see what's going on here. And in component, well, we'll just do a what we'll do is we'll delay just so we can see everything working. So we're going to delay for 3 seconds, and then we're going to set this to off just to make sure the component and everything's working. So this is our normal going around, pick up, pick up, pick up. We hit 1, we're going to change to build mode, and then we're going to change back to normal when build mode ends. Alright, so that's working properly. So we've now got our custom component. So that's all we need to do now, is put all the building stuff in the build component, and then you can attach that, like you said, to your player controller or whatever. Okay, so the first thing we need to do on build is we need to know what we're building. So let's have a look in build. So yes, we're going into build mode. We are going to want our item craft. You will not have this if you are just watching for the build, but you will have your item array of wooden foundations, everything like that, because you'll need that. So there's obviously 2 ways. If you don't have this, then just drag this straight into here. If you do and you're following on, then get your enum, or get your item. Is this a craft recipe? Yes. So name, sorry, break name into there like so. Alright, and then this can go into there. If you're not, just drag this into here. Okay, so we know what we're building. Okay, and then we're simply going to, we're not going to snap building, we're going to build this little bit at a time. So first thing we're going to do is we will make all these functions, but I want to show you how I snap without millions of fucking boxes everywhere. Did I hit this box? Snap up, snap left, snap right. You don't need to do any of that shit. You can use maths, especially when something are all the same size. So what we're going to do is we are going to spawn actor from class. This is going to be the master item, and the transform, just break this for a minute, and we're going to get the hit location like that, and the item we're going to spawn is going to be this one. Okay, now the line trace is going to set this variable, so break here and then put an if here. Okay, this is what it needs to look like. So the location is going to be set. Yeah, so if you now well, you need to set collision here of the static mesh. Pop this into here, set that to no collision, and then you want to delay for, that's good enough for a game. It doesn't have to be, like, if you want it to be less choppy, then put another 1 in it, but 0.1 is fine, honestly. It might be a little bit bumpy, but it's fine, honestly. 0.1's enough. And then after you've done that, you want to destroy it. Okay. And then you're going to want to get your PC player. We're going to put some actions in here now. So in your controller, you're going to get left mouse button. Add a variable for left mouse button down. Pop this into here. Duplicate. Bang that into there. Tick it. Okay, now you want right mouse button. Duplicate this. Change that to right. Tick it. Duplicate. On released. There might be a little bit better way to do this. Use a key, because I found in the template that I've made, sometimes if I hold the mouse button too long, it just auto places it. But like I said, it's a blueprint, so you can just right click it and it disappears anyway. But that might be a little bit annoying. Build component. Now you can get, we'll do cancel first. So we'll get the right mouse button. What the fuck is RBM? Right, let's change that to right mouse button. And I did it there as well. What the fuck? Mouse button. So correct that mistake. Jump back into here. Now get right mouse button. And then we if here. So what we're doing now is we're checking to see. So this is essentially, we're going to build a loop. So it's going to run this over and over and over again until we tell it, right, we're happy with that. So if right mouse button is not pressed, we haven't cancelled it. So if that's done, we're just going to forget about it, and that's fine. Okay, then, so if this is false, we're then going to get left mouse button. And we're going to if this, or branch this, okay, and then we're going to say, right, is this true? Then we're going to, you know, spawn actor from class, master, transform, which will be the spawn transform. Obviously, we'll need to set this. For now, while we are getting set up and testing and all that stuff, we're going to put this, do as you're told, do as you're fucking told, engine, Jesus, and the enum type from our list doesn't want to go in. Okay, now if this is false, so we haven't pressed left or right mouse button, we're going to call build again. Excuse me, build again. Alright, so we're just going to call build here and put our item info in. So this will now run and run and run and run and run until this happens. And then if right mouse button is pressed, set build mode back to false, because we're coming out of build mode. Okay, and also set it here after we've spawned the item. Set that back to false. And you will also, I've missed a step, so just give this some more room. And the static mesh, you want to come off of here, and I'm itchy, and you want to set the material, alright, down into here. You can put the reroute nodes in now if you want. Just tidy this up. We'll be putting all this into functions anyway. I'm just giving you the gist of it. for now, put this to blue. And now you should have something that... Right, so what we need to do here is build mode is off by default. We haven't called build, we haven't pressed 1. So that shouldn't have ran, but this needs to be put in to foundation if 1 is pressed. Compile, save. If build mode is false, run that. Yes, that's fine. That's the blue one. Sorry, I thought blue one was build mode. That's what confused me there. Right, so we're in a game. We've got a normal line trace to find whatever. We're going to hit 1. And now we'll switch to build mode. And now we're moving around a foundation. If we right click, that'll go away. And we're now back in normal mode. Press 1 again. That's going to be there. Now if we click left mouse button, we've went back to normal mode. And we've placed a foundation. Alright. I know it's saying press E is because it's on the same script as that, but if you're not following along, you won't have any of that anyway. But this is the basics of the gist of it. Alright. Now I'm going to have to turn that blue line trace off. We know that's working. And it's already doing my heading. So let's check the time on the video. Have I got time to do snapping? I don't know because I paused a few times, but I don't think so. So I'm going to cut the video there, and in the next episode I'm going to show you how it snaps. I'll give you a brief of it now. So the way I do it, if it fucking lets, for example, this static mesh is, I'm going to be able to hit this static mesh with a line trace. Now if you imagine the middle of this static mesh at 0, so if I got that actor location like in the world, and then I got it like, how do I, yeah, so it basically, if I got this actor's location and then got it in worlds and then the world location, I'm going to have 2 different vectors, right? Because I'm going to have like 0, 0, 0 if I got the actor location, but if I got the world location, I would get fucking 1000 by 22,000, however far away from 0 I am. And then when you take the 2 away and then add, right, if I looked at the top of it, I would get plus 100 in X. And if I looked at the bottom of it, I would get minus 100 in X. And again here, 100 in Y, minus 100 in Y. And then with that information, I can tell the foundation to spawn 200 units this way, or 200 units this way, or 200 units this way. And then we know how to snap the foundations together. We've got a location. If that didn't make sense, it will in the next episode. So we'll see you there. Alright? Now, subscribe, and then you'll see it come out. Flick the bell. Like the video if you did. And if you've got any questions, join the Discord, join the Patreon, ask down in the comments section. Any way you want, that's fine with me. And then we will see you in the next one.